Ribbit. All right. I'm finally going to try to go over saving files. I haven't really got into it too much, but I played with it a little bit earlier today. And it makes a little more sense now than it did before. So, another thing too is, I guess first off, if whenever I'm doing stuff and then have some parentheses or whatever, and then use this right bracket to close them. If I change the read table, which I started playing with a little bit, changing this, and I've just been using the XCL just because I don't know any better. And then now I don't have to have everything all caps. And so the first thing, I think I have a file on here I want to get rid of. So stuff and lcom. So to get rid of a file, you can use del file. And then I can just say stuff.lcom. And I will say, although like being able to use lowercase is nice, that because of the fonts, sometimes it's kind of ugly using lowercase. Like this almost looks like the L is a dotted I or something. But I guess you get used to it or whatever. And then if I was to try to do that again, like define Q and just have these, and I use this closing bracket, now that I have changed the read table, then those are, I guess, are meaningless now. So I don't know what all gets affected when you change the read table, but you're not changing the package, you're just changing the read table. So you're still using the Interlisp commands and stuff, let's say. And then just by like when you log in, it has a online P. Maybe that's not a function. It says T, and I don't know if that's just a variable they have to check to like run stuff if you're using this online system, or if that means something else. I've just noticed that a couple times it pops up saying it's not a variable and they're creating it somehow. So there's a command files, and for some reason whenever I come in here it's always asking about this. I don't really know what that is, so I don't bother messing with it. If you just hit the closing right square bracket, then it automatically types nowhere, and then this basically just tells it that you don't want to save this file. If you just hit enter, then the next time you run files, it's going to prompt that again. And there's different things like add to files. Like for instance, this question was being asked. If I was to run add to files, it might not show it now because there's nothing there. Is it add to files maybe? I didn't type the S again, so just fix. Why I got there we go. So I want to say where to go. So I think a lot of these different things like files calls add to files, cleanup calls, a bunch of other stuff like compile files or something like that probably. I'm just going to hit Control D to get out of there. So some of this stuff calls other files. So right now, since I'm in the other read table, yeah, I'm going to say like define Q and just create a function. So, I mean, I don't even know. Like, I didn't really think this out. So let's just say like, yeah, let's just say cat and then lambda. And then we'll make the cat just meow. Why not a string? Okay. And then let's make a duck too. And then nothing can quack. Let's just make it a symbol. What's it matter? And so we have cat and we have duck. And then I want to do one more. let's just call it a truck. And we'll just print. All right, so then we have truck. And I don't know, because it seems like files can save the variables also, but I haven't had luck in doing this. Like it asking for the variables, I don't know how to get that to run yet. Maybe the functions you're using the variables it will, I'm not sure. So here I'll just say, let's say ribbit. And then the other day I was trying this, and that's something to keep in mind, that depending on what read table you're in sometimes, especially in like an Interlisp one. See right here, I switched back to Interlisp, so somehow I typed something that took me to this XCL. I don't know why it does that. I still haven't caught up when it's doing this. It's, I don't know, really, that's the most annoying thing so far. Like, I'm not asking to be in there. So, and it has nothing to do with the read table here either, as far as I can tell. That's just something that I type sometimes that makes it do that. So I should still be able to be in here, because I wanted these things to be in here. If I call duck, and if I call truck, and I call, what was my first animal? Anyway, it looks like they're still in here. I don't know why that thing's changing sometimes. If I type files with a question mark like this, it was a cat, okay. And also be careful, like you can redefine car, that's why I type truck. You can actually redefine car, and then that's not a good thing. It started doing all kinds of weird stuff when I accidentally did that. So this is asking me, do I want to say where these things go? I do. So I'm going to hit Y for yes. And then it just says truck. And so now it's wanting to know what file I want to put that in. So I'm going to put that in vehicles, let's say. I'm going to call this a list file. And then it doesn't exist, so it's asking if it wants to. I want to say yes. And now it's asking, where do you want the duck function to go? I want that one to go on animals.lisp. Create new file because it doesn't exist, yes. And now it's saying, where do you want cat to go? Well, I want cat to go on animals.lisp also. And then it doesn't prompt me that. Now notice if I type ls, then these files don't exist yet. So this is all still mapped out in memory, I guess you could say. And remember that if I hit enter or the back square bracket, that's how you can either skip. Skipping will, by just hitting enter, will prompt you the next time I run files if I want to save the file. And the right square bracket wouldn't bother me. So if I didn't want cat, then I could have just put the right square bracket when it was asking me for the file name. If I wanted to save it later, then I just hit enter. I guess I should have showed that, but I don't even know how many people are interested in messing with this stuff. So then to actually save these files, and remember, well, this has to be capitalized if you're in an Interlisp read table. So I think it's make files. And then I'm going to type in the files, the file I want to do. So in this example, let's just do the vehicles, let's say, .lisp. And now if I type ls, then you can see that it's actually sitting there. The vehicles file sitting there. And so I'm going to say make files. It looks like the animal one's there. I don't remember doing that one already though. I think I need to quote that though, so let me just put my cursor back here. Oops. I don't know if this works either. If I hit Control X. Yeah, I would close that in this read table. Okay. And so then now I can see those files. So I see animals.lisp. And then you can see where cat's defined and where duck's defined. This just keeps up with some of the stuff that's what read table, and I don't know, I haven't paid attention too much to all this stuff. And then you can compile files too. One way is to call compile files. Another way is to compile just functions. And then there's cleanup. And cleanup will, I want to say it does quite a few things, but one of the things it does is it'll try to compile all the files that haven't been compiled yet. And I'm not too sure exactly what all this is going on here, but right here it's going to say doesn't see a lcom file yet, so it's asking me does it want to use this vehicles.lisp to compile, and I'm going to say yes. And then it's asking for a listing. I think if you say yes on the listing, it's going to show you. I don't really know because I've just been trying to like push buttons and see what happens. It'll show you afterwards what happened. So I guess maybe we can just hit yes and see if that does anything. And now it's confusing because I don't know. Is this a file that the listing is going to go into or what? So I think I usually hit no there. So right here, I'm just going to say test and see what happens there. Redefine. And then redefine, I think if I say no to redefine, then it's going to make a compiled file, but all the functions that exist right now in memory are still going to be interpreted. So if I say no, then it's not going to recompile those, where it might be better to say yes. And then now it's asking about the animals. Sometimes it'll ask about, so I think that it's better to say yes, because if you say yes, it will like compile the experts that go with this also. So let's try this on this one. So if I say use the animals.lisp, yes. Listing, I'm going to say, I said yes last time, I'll say no this time. Wait, no, confirm. Redefine. And so here this listing asks for the file. This time when I said no, it didn't. So maybe this is just for the listing, which was confusing me. Is it asking me for the compiled file or the name that I already gave it already, you know? So then redefine. This time I'm going to say yes. And then it's going to say save expers. And so I think the like expressions that you're using to define the function will be saved in here. So when you try to later edit that in the S editor, then it's going to be able to pull it up from here rather than going and get it from the source files, I think is what's happening. So I'm just going to say yes. And then now if I say ls, then there's that test. So let's just see what's in there. Test.test. Because I haven't really looked at one of these yet. So it's just giving you information about what happened when it compiled, I think. And then these lcoms are the actual compiled files now. So if I want to see one of those, and then this is the compiled version. There's also something about comments because I was curious about these comments, and so comments are like this, but I haven't been able to figure out how this actually works. So, but supposedly a comment like this will show up on the left. And then if you do a comment like this, it shows in the middle, like it's centered. It's a centered comment. But I really don't know where these things go. And if I was to go like see animals.lisp, let's say, then I'm thinking like this comment, maybe not on the left, maybe it's on the right. I can't remember where I read that at. But you see like there's a comment here, and a comment here, they're kind of off to the right. But I don't know. I tried to like define a function and put comments in it, but it wasn't like doing what what I expected or wanted it to. So, but at the same time, I haven't been playing with this too much. Just every once in a while, I come in here and dig around. Is there something else that I can think of? I guess if you wanted to save the file, like this, the next time I come in here, right now, let's say, like if I say ls sysout with a slash at the end because it matters, I've only ever saved like one sysout. So if I was wanting to do that, then you just type sysout and then give it the path, I guess, because it doesn't automatically go into sysout. Does this have to be? I wonder if the sysout has to be quoted or not. I think it does. So let me quote that slash, and then I'll say like, I'll just give it the same one because I don't know what's going to happen if it's going to overwrite the other one or it just gives it a new version number because I've only ever made one of those. Yeah, so I gave it a new version number. And right there, I forgot to do the slash at the end. And I think there is like some stuff I want to say. I don't remember what it was. Maybe under MakeFiles or MakeFile. Whenever you run MakeFile, because there's another one called MakeFiles too, but like MakeFiles, and then you can say like list, I think. And I don't have anything, but if I had something, it'll show the stuff that hasn't been compiled yet, I think. So like if I was to say like find q, just something, give it a lambda, nothing, and then something. It doesn't really like me just to do it like I usually do in Common Lisp. That's why I keep typing like print or something. And so then maybe if I say like make files list, it still might not. Yeah, so now it's saying here's something, where do you want it to go? And maybe make files is calling something. Maybe make files is calling the files question mark. So do I want to say where to go? Yes. And that files question mark is calling that add to file something, and so now it's asking me where I want that to go. So I'll just say like something.lisp. Create a new file, yeah. And then if I actually wanted to compile that, because I think I called a cleanup last time. So I want to say it's compile files, and then I give it the one that I want, something.lisp. And so it doesn't see the lcom, so it's saying, yeah, I want to do this. Listing, I don't care about the listing. I do want to redefine those, let's say, and I do want to save those. And so now if I ls, then we have these guys sitting right here also, which I haven't tried, but I guess you could load these if I restarted, and these aren't in here. Another thing to keep in mind too is, like, I don't know what happens because I meant to try that before this, but let's just say I log out. And so I log out and then I log back in. And if I want to start adding stuff into, let's say I want to add some more animals over here. I think you probably want to load it first. Because if I don't load it first, let's say if I say define q, and then I'll just say rabbit and lambda, and I don't know what kind of noise a rabbit makes. I'll just say it's that. Oh. I'm just going to hit Control D to get out of there. In the other read table, so it wants everything to be capitalized. So fix. And then look at the way this thing came out fixed. I don't want all these things. That would just kind of force the name to be a certain way. It would force those to be all lowercase. Well, I don't know what it'll do in here, but in Common Lisp it would. And this is a function, so I need to put that there. All right. So let's say I say files here. And then it's saying, where do you want that to go? Well, I want that to be in animals. Oh, I gotta say yes, sorry. And then here I'm gonna put the right square bracket so it ignores that logout.device thing. And then I think next time I might save that just to see what's in there. And then now I want this to be in animals. Lisp, let's say. The problem with this is, I think because I didn't load that, so see it's asking me to create a new one. Like, I don't want to create a new one. I already have some sitting there. Create a new list, animals.lisp. Like, I don't know exactly what it's asking me there. Oh no, I don't want to do this again. So if I also say files, oh, I'm still being prompted for stuff. Let me control D out of there. I just do this like normal because I haven't played with this enough to sit here. I don't want to play this on screen. So what to say where to go? Yes. And so it's rabbit. So I'm going to put animals.lisp. But this isn't in memory or whatever. And so if I say yes, and now I ls, then last time it created another file. This time, so if I say C, animals.lisp, there's a cat and a duck, but my rabbit's not in there. Where did that file just go? I wonder if I did something else. I'm just going to try another one. Find Q. I guess a dog, I don't know what that makes. So let's do dog lambda. Bark rough. Oh yeah, it's not gonna like that. Let me put a print there. So if I got dog, is it sitting there? Yeah. If I say files, plus dog. Yeah, I do. I want dog to go into animals. Lisp. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't make those files. Jeez, okay. So make files, animals.lisp. That's why it didn't work earlier. Now if I say ls, now we have two different animals, but if I say C animals.lisp, let's say, and give it the second one. Okay, so when we want to do this, I shouldn't have done that, but I already did it. So now it needs to be a string. So animals.lisp, because I'm trying to get the one. It's a second version with a semicolon in it. Now notice that only dog and rabbit are going to be in there, and the other one's only going to have the cat and dog, cat and duck, I guess that's what it was. So I wonder if I was to like del file, let's say, del file, and I probably have to use the quotes again, .lisp, and get rid of the second version. And then I'm gonna log out just to check this out cleanly without having to wonder how this is gonna work. And just add one of these back inside here, so thank you. Dog, lambda, rough. I always do this. Let me go back and put the print here. And then change the read table since I'm not doing all caps. And I think right here is if I hit Control D, I'm just going to hit no. If I would hit Control D, I think this is when it would have switched me to the Xerox command list thing right here. So I'm just going to type fix. Did it again. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but let me get rid of these things. If I'd have left it there, then maybe the only one that would have really mattered was dog would actually have to be lowercase. I couldn't call it uppercase, depending on how the system reacts anyway. All right, so now I want to call files. Where do I want to go? Yeah, I do want to tell it where to go. I don't care about this right square bracket. This function, I want it to go in animals. Man, I did it again, didn't I, though? Control D out of there. Yeah, so it did switch me right here. See, I have no idea how to get it back either. What I wanted to do first before I did that animal stuff was I want to load it. So I'm going to say load animals. I don't know if I have to tell it which one or if it'll just automatically do it. See, then my read table changed when I changed that back. So load animals. Yeah, I didn't like that. Just Control D to get out of that one because it doesn't switch me over there. And so if I was to just say load animals.list, let's say. Yes, just do it. I don't know why. I thought I switched that already, but maybe not. And so now, do I have cat here? So I do. So now that I've done that, then now I want to say files. Yes. And dog, I want it to go into animals.lisp. And here, if I say make files, animals.lisp, I haven't tried this yet, so I'm hoping that it actually threw this in the correct file. Well, maybe it created a new file, but I'm hoping that the other guys are inside here. It should just grab the last one. So you see there's dog, cat, and duck. So it did do that. So I guess that's something to keep in mind. And then there's some of these things that I don't think it matters on this system because it's not running on a Xerox workstation. But I want to say like initials mattered. Yeah, I did misspell that. I'm just going to hit yeah. So it comes back with initials. If initials is set, well, on this one it would matter maybe. When initials are set, then that's where sometimes you see on the right. Maybe it's in T-edit files that I've seen it in. Let me just see if the animals.lisp has it. Yeah, I don't notice it being in here, let's say. But if I had well, probably the init file will be like this. Get the cursor out of the way. Yeah, I don't see it in here. Anyway, sometimes you'll see the comments on the right saying whose the file belongs to or something. Maybe the LCOM one. I don't know where I've seen that at, but I know I've seen it quite a bit. Or just not to be in any of these. Might have been in the T-edit files that I was doing at one time. But it'll have information on the side of who created the file and at what time, I believe. As long as the initial set. And then the date. Is that a function? Yeah. So if the date's not set, which on here it just uses the underlying OS, but if the date's not set, I don't think you would be able to use MAKEFILEs possibly. I think that's pretty much. Just because I talked about that, there's also like a first name. And I think that's what the system greets you with when it starts up. So I think that's pretty much all. I kind of just wanted to go over that. And then I noticed too is, a lot of people don't like having the prefix, but in here you can say like 1 plus 1 plus. Anyway, ribbit.